Then, oh, fantastic. There we go. Look at that. Well, here we are. It is Tuesday. This is not a podcast. I'm Leslie Wootton, and I've got my good friend Karel Mergl.
Yes, you got it.
Did I say that right? Okay, I read it a whole lot. Like we're back and forth on LinkedIn quite a bit. So one of those names that I read, and so fantastic. All right, so just popped up on there. I got my mutes, I got my buttons, but thrilled to have a conversation on here. How's your Tuesday? What's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you for having me on. Obviously, I love the spontaneity of it. I mean, last week I watched you and engaged a little bit, and then you know what? It's like, yeah, sure, let's have you on. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then you just create an event. Ta-da! There it is.
Like, let's go.
Now, yeah. Now here I am. So yeah, Tuesday's been fun. I'll have a final in like 2 hours. So
okay.
Yeah, that'll be my last final, and then tomorrow will be a free day, and then Thursday I'm moving out. And Friday I'll be in North Carolina.
Okay.
Fast moving. Okay. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, Friday I'll be in Baltimore. I spend a lot of time in Virginia, so closer to where you're headed. So North Carolina, Virginia world. So a lot of that time over in Associates, south side of Virginia. So almost in the same part of the world, but I appreciate the spontaneity on your part, joining me, jumping on, getting in here. A lot of conversations that we have in the comments on LinkedIn, and I do love that back and forth. Your posts and your insights. You, as I mentioned before on the interaction, knowing your Sunday recaps, and forgive me for any specific titles or anything that you've got.
That's
on
fine.
There,
I have 3 different ones, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. But those recaps, you know, like I think you often would see me like I'm going to it and then I didn't make it. I'm going to it and then I made it, and then I'm going to it. And just seeing that, and that you're constantly there, you're sitting there, you're talking, you're going through, you're engaging. A lot of your posts are about, hey, just get out there and put up the effort. So really actually inspired by that to start this, and just in that mentality of, all right, what am I doing? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do another podcast. And so clearly that's where I got not a podcast. Like, let's just put this up here, talk about some things, and go for the engagement. So I appreciate you and what you're doing on LinkedIn and your efforts there. Inspirational. And I know that seems like a big word. It's true though. So that's literally what got me to push the button, get in here and just say, let's go live.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I did mention it on my last, this Sunday's live stream. I said that we talked on last Tuesday, that you engaged with me, and you said, I actually showed the bit where you said, like, yeah, you were inspired to create this by with me doing those. So yeah, I appreciate that a lot, and it's interesting to be someone's inspiration or quote unquote role model. But
sure.
19, but hey, it works.
But it's real, you know, and we've got so many different areas that are inspired, and it's like going on social media and you read a meme or something like, oh, I should do that, and that's the inspiration for it. Yours is a little bit more than a meme. I don't mean to minimize it, but to maximize that impact that we can have at any given moment, that we just we're out there, we're engaging, and somebody's going to read something and spark an idea from it. So it's what we try from a consulting perspective to give to leaders of engage. You don't have to intentionally inspire people. It's going to happen organically if you go out and you engage. And so I think what you're doing is exactly that. And I'm happy to call it out. I think it's one, true, and two, it shows how sometimes just doing what you think is right or getting out there and putting up an effort can inspire people, whether you intended that or not. I don't know that you intended to get me to start a not podcast, but that was your intent. Great job. Great goals.
No, it's I mean, I just do it. I just show up, and that's kind of where the I don't know, how would you call it, like an involuntary influencer kind of comes in.
That's okay. Okay, we're gonna create a new world there. Involuntary influences. Okay. So let's I've got some questions just pulling from, what you post about, what I post about, and I think we need to speak to some of the AI, the goods and the bads. But I would also love to hear just a little bit about what you're doing with LinkedIn to put that here, to put that out there, so that for our viewers now or in the future, or our clips that we can pull from this. Tell us a little bit about your goals and your engagement on LinkedIn. What are you doing there?
Right. Well, I mean, I try to show up almost every day.
Yeah.
Try and set up, have that event on Sunday that I show up to. Also, it's, it just shows, my whole brand is being basically 19, right? Because how many people are on LinkedIn that are 19
3
and active, right? Because there can be I know a lot of college students that are and have LinkedIn profiles because the career center tells them to, you need a LinkedIn profile for jobs. They'll create it, but then they leave it dormant. They don't do anything with it, right? So I decided to, actually, not myself. My dad kind of helped me into it,
Sure.
right? Do this right now, and so I started doing it, and I'm trying to be myself, right? Because people typically are interested in a perspective, in a younger perspective, especially that's kind of small on LinkedIn, right? Like I said, there's not a lot of 19-year-olds or, anyways, everybody that I've talked with in my one-on-ones, for example, that I also do sometimes, I send out these links to, book a meeting with me. That's what I did with Leslie, by the way. He booked. It was one of my first meetings, I remember. And so, and I've had a good 70, 80 of them since. So, and all of them were older than me. None of them were, younger or the same age as me. Not even like college peers. Mostly like people 25 and up, right? That's okay. I think the youngest was like 25. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to kind of do. Then show my journey on here. Talk about personal stuff. Maybe give my take on some things like what we're going to be doing right now, which is AI, right? Yeah. And that's I've been doing videos on that for quite a long time. I've been using it ever since ChatGPT officially came out in 2022. So yeah, and what else? And yeah, so my philosophy, the whole of it is basically you gotta post, but not only post, right? You gotta post and engage, comment, and stuff like that, right? Because I actually wrote that in the comment to someone else yesterday. It's like the yin and yang. One can't exist without the other. You can't post, and you can't just post, and you can't just engage because they can't exist without the other. So yeah, so that's kind of my philosophy on LinkedIn right now. Yeah.
I think it's not only a great philosophy, but something that as the older one on LinkedIn, getting in, engaging, trying to figure out, all right, what is this? I see so much more that comes from the comments that I might put somewhere. I'm seeing a whole lot more because we've got our business as well, right? And you do as well. So I've got 1033 Consulting out there, and then I've got myself, and I share the business with my partner Paul. And what we post on there, while very much the same or similar to what I post, my posts get so much more interaction, and that has to be something with, okay, well, I'm talking to a person now, and this is business, even though people do or should know that that's me or Paul posting through the business side of it. But it's that human interaction, that connection that we're making with not just the post, but the replies and speaking to people, making those connections is largely where we as consultants find our best leads. And what you're doing is, it should be inspirational for people that are consulting or trying to get their name out, that are like, oh, how do I market? How do I put this out there? How do I create the perfect goal and marketing plan? It's a lot of it's like, no, go meet with people and talk about what you do, get to know them, show them that you're listening to them and that you're engaged. Because where Paul and I have, some decades in the industry, and I do this because it sounds funny to me, but it's true. We've got decades in the hospitality industry, but that's not what sells us. What sells us is our connections with people and handing off some of the leads that we have of, oh, you need to go talk to Karel. He's going to be able to build this for you. Oh, you need to go talk to this person. They're going to be able to build this for you. So what you're doing now is the strategy that we've taken after learning this for decades, the strategy of engagement and just talking to people so that we know who's who in the space, and finding where to get those leads, when to hand off those leads, or when somebody will go, oh, you guys need to go talk to Leslie and Paul. And it is literally what we're building out as a company strategy this year. And you're over here doing it because you want to see what's happening. So it's kudos to you for discovering what takes other people time and effort to find and realize over time.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, I've said that a lot of times ever since like when I got on LinkedIn truly, like fully, and I started sharing my story and journey. It was like late December,
Yeah,
I think. And yeah, so that's when I started like sending out these things, the one-on-one casual chats, because then I kind of formulated this like, hey, first of all, I want to make friends, learn new stuff, right? That's the most important things I get from these, right? Because I'm young and they have like, the oldest guy I've talked with was 77 years old. Okay, so he has like 3 lifetimes on me. Okay,
sure. Yeah.
More than actually. So that's why I'm trying to talk with people and learn new things, and also build those connections, because those eventually connections always lead somewhere. Either be that referrals, be that partnerships, be that sales and stuff like that, anything basically, right? So yeah.
I was back and forth in a thread this past week, and it keeps popping up because it's popping off. And the premise of it was, if you show up to a meeting and you don't know everything about that client, then you're not ready for it. And anyone who shows up to a meeting and asks, tell me about, your company, or tell me about this, you're a failure. And I'm exaggerating, but also not exaggerating. My thought and the comment was, I absolutely go into meetings wanting to get to know somebody outside of their website, outside of their posts. Like, tell me what's going on. I exactly disagreed with the posts saying, if you show up without 100% of the information, you're behind. I'm like, what kind of mentality is that you think you can go on Google and learn about people? That I was like, no, talk to me. Let's be human, even if it takes an extra meeting. And to be completely fair, if the client that I'm seeking is like, nope, just this, I'm like, I don't know if I'm the solution that you're looking for. I'm way too people oriented.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know, that to me, that kind of sounds a little dumb, because I'm just wondering, like, how can you truly know the person if you're just going to Google them? There might be some even outdated information. First of all, you never know that. And second of all, if you just talk and, I saw this and I saw this and you're this and you're this and you're this. To me, if somebody did that to me, I don't know if I would be really like comfortable. Like, how do you stalk me? Like, how do you know all this stuff, right?
Well,
I didn't
you
tell
don't
you
put it out there intentionally. Yeah, it is your website, but at the same time, like,
right. But if they're going into depth and everywhere and just calling my Instagram, wherever, and I'm like, how do you know all this, right? So I'll be a little creeped out. So I'd love to just talk, right? Just face-to-face connection in person, even better if possible, right? But that's true building, like, not just like telling them who they are.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think largely where we've had some conversations that we could find the pieces that we don't align to. I think we do align. And I'd like to pivot from that conversation, that finding the human element, the desire to connect with your clients, and pivot that to some of the AI questions. So if you don't mind, I'd love to know your perspective on how much should we actually trust AI to assist us, and where are we building too much trust too soon with something like artificial intelligence?
Right. Well, it's a tough topic, obviously, and it's very, very, very relevant. But especially now, it wasn't this relevant at the beginning of AI, because it just seemed, to me, it seemed like a miracle machine. When I saw it, I was like, I put an assignment into it and answered all the questions perfectly. I was like, wow. So it did seem like that.
Autofill. It filled out the sheet for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I realized, you know, I might have been probably like one of the first to realize. I don't want to say like I'm pioneer. I was the first or something like that, right? I hate that,
Sure.
but I realized, it does this thing where it just makes up stuff, right?
Yeah.
Before it was even known as hallucination, and then people put a term on it, hallucination. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And then I started seeing articles about it, and I realized, you know what? I'll actually start making videos about it. That was my first short, because my dad did some before that, but then my first actual short was me talking about ChatGPT hallucinating on me. So yeah, that's what then I kind of talked about, and I emphasized, hey, this is not it doesn't have to be accurate. Just check everything. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I say right now it's obviously still unreliable. I mean, yesterday I tried to do something with it, and it actually kept sabotaging me. Then you realize, like, for example, since it's mimicking human behavior, and if you're nice to it, it's gonna be way more receptive to you. Like, if you say please,
Sure.
thank you, politeness, and it actually costs. Sam Altman said it costs millions of dollars a year extra costs when people say thank you and are polite. Which I'm assuming it works the other way too, mimicking
Yeah.
human behavior. Again, it's gonna say if you say oh, if you're rude to it, it's gonna sabotage you. Maybe even like hide some stuff, and I don't want that. So I'm rather nice, but yeah. So I wouldn't trust it too much with many things. I know, for example, I made a short about this like a couple months ago, I think, where they're actually implementing an OpenAI model into it's called the Venado supercomputer, and it's in Los Alamos, and it's going to be overseeing nuclear weapon safety. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I titled the video "Skynet is Born" because obviously, Skynet from the Terminator had control over nuclear weapons, and when they tried to pull the plug, it fired off all of them. So that's why I'm like, I don't want it to steer too far in that direction where we just give everything completely over to AI and hand it over just like on a silver platter because we are lazy, right? That's the most important reason. My dad made actually a post about that as well as like the whole presentation, and it was like we're basically handing over our agency and everything to AI because we're just lazy. We just want stuff done for us, and I'd actually even better connected even better to something else. I'm assuming you're familiar with Twilight Zone, right? The
Sure.
series
Yeah.
from the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
My
know the
parents
episode?
watched that.
Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
watched
Do you
it.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad showed it to me, and I was like, yeah, it's sick. So there was this episode. It's called "To Serve Man," right? There was
Okay.
where the aliens came from wherever to the Earth, and they were like, "We'll help you with everything," and then they solved world's problems, right? Basically. But the thing is, they have this book, and it was like "To Serve Man," right? It said, but then they start translating it, and then when they realized, like, for example, well, because the aliens were taking some humans to like tour their own planet, right? And they were like, "Oh, it's a cookbook." Like they
Yeah.
came here, they're gonna feed you and everything, and then they're gonna take you and they're
Yeah.
gonna eat you. Yeah, they're gonna serve you. So yeah, and it was like it was this type of deal, and I was like, yeah. So that kind of reminded me of AI, right? Because we're giving up everything to it. Eventually, it might fix all of our problems, but it's going to be even like the monkey's paw, right? You're going to say, "Hey, fix the hunger in New York," and it's going to kill 100,000 people, for example, right? Just because.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So my question there is because I work with it, and I'm super nice to it as well. And I even asked at one point, I asked my Chat GPT, I was like, is me being nice to you gonna help me when robots and AI take over the world? And it responded with, couldn't hurt. I'm like, okay.
oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, fantastic, good, better than the opposite.
Good. Okay. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, I will keep it up. Yeah, thank you. So I think we've all experienced hallucinations, and my thought is, if somebody doesn't recognize it, that's on them. So my question in these early stages of AI, and I know it's not just launched, like a lot of people are acting like it just launched, but in these early stages, do the AI hallucinations prove that it's unreliable, or does it just mean that we still have to be very involved with what we're doing?
I mean, it definitely is still a reminder that because it's based on huge data sets, right? Of
Yeah.
of content that guess who created, right? So that's why it is flawed, because humans are naturally flawed, and it's going to be like, read an article that where some AI scientists said that they can't take out hallucination completely. It'll always be there. You can only minimize it and like try and spot those faulty files. But it's so many files that they need a whole other AI to go through it. But then if you have another AI, is going to hallucinate more and stuff. So they don't want to do that anyway. So yeah, so it's definitely that's a really good thing to think about. And I would say I kind of do like the hallucination, because it keeps you on your feet.
Okay.
And it definitely is, because in the early stages, right, like the first couple of months, nobody or not a lot of people knew about hallucination. That's why I started making those videos, to bring awareness to it. But then no, it started to minimize, but it's still there. But I would say sometimes just talking, then I forget where I was going with this. My brain is 10 steps ahead sometimes.
Sure. No, I get it. I think we're aligned in that we need to recognize what AI is doing and what it can do and what it doesn't do. And that's something that Paul and I work with people on. It's very, very much like implementation of any technology that somebody's ever had, whether you're just now installing Microsoft, or whether you're getting a new point of sale, or whether you're getting new inventory software, or you're putting in something very modern, very high tech, very AI focused. And it's something that's going to require good data, or it's going to hallucinate because your data is terrible or non-existent. And so it's forced to come up with stuff. So we're working with leaders and helping them understand that this isn't something that you can just plug in and it's suddenly there. It's not, a video game where it's all on that cartridge. That shows my age, or on your download. That you as a person have to use your skills, your leadership, your information, and your data. And we have to now be even more critical of what we're doing and how our own systems are put together, in order for AI to be effective, even at 95%, knowing that 5% is going to be hallucinations or errors or miscalculations, whatever it might be. But I'm just looking at so much that is proving more and more that AI is going to be a good tool, but you have to be more and more in control of your own data now more than ever.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it reinforces responsible use.
Yeah.
Just like with alcohol, you gotta treat it with respect. You can't just completely go off, and you also can't just substitute AI completely for something. It's not what it was made for right now, at least, until we come up with AGI, artificial general intelligence, where it will have its own mind and it'll be able to compute stuff on its own and just stuff like that. Be a little scary, but still. But then, until then, it's still just an assistant, and it'll never be a complete replacement. I've been told, in those one-on-one chats, like, because of when I tell them, like, oh, hey, I'm kind of an aspiring lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, they're like, oh, but isn't AI going to take over that field completely? And I was like, maybe in some aspects. For example, like, they'll have transcription services, or they'll have stenographers. They'll have what are they called? Like, you'll put a case brief into it, and it'll read it. It'll summarize it for you, but it still needs to
pull
be
up old briefs to go. It aligns to this.
Precedents, everything. Yeah. But then, right, if you put like an AI jury, an AI judge, AI lawyers, you don't know what's gonna happen. I feel like that's a little dystopian to me, at least, because then you don't know, because the guy can be innocent completely, and they can just start messing up, and then the judge will be like, the evidence will point that he's not guilty, and the judge will say, you're not guilty, because it's like hallucinating, or that you were not nice to the judge and it's trying to imitate human behavior,
or you didn't say please and thank you before the I guess it's probably also similar to the umpires in baseball, that you've got the strike zone, but you still got people calling balls and strikes, and largely it's still the people that have more mistakes than the AI. Yet the baseball organizers and decision makers keep that umpire in there for what reasons? At what point do we shift from this being something that tells us what we should have done to becoming the driver of business decisions? And so I know you used a baseball analogy, but shifting back to what we're talking about on AI, it's no longer just a gimmick to come up with funny memes or something. It is shifting into what people are allowing to make decisions for them. You and I both agree, and insist to people listening, you have to get involved with this in order for it to, one, be effective, and two, for your business to get out what you want it to get out of. So when did we see this shift from, oh, this is clever, this is cool, to suddenly some businesses going, this is making our new decisions moving forward? How is that happening so fast?
I mean, that's a really good question. Actually, I didn't really have much to ponder, but it's like, I'm trying to think, because people have been implementing AI for a pretty long time, and it used to be mostly in the form of like machine learning, because for example, those the CAPTCHAs, right? Those are mostly those are machine learning, and it's still learning, for example. But so those have been implemented by almost every single website, every single business, every single, so that they don't get bots. And then there's then ChatGPT came out in 2022 officially, and then I think, I'm really trying to think, because it was like, oh, cool, and then people started using it. Then it reached like peak usage. Now they were actually talking about defunding it, like not really defunding it, but it would run out of money because there was not much. It's really expensive to operate, and Microsoft didn't want to really keep funding it. But they're just getting more money now at this point. I'm really, because I'm not really good in the business world. I was mostly taking my news like from headlines and stuff. That's what I made videos with, so I knew a lot of hallucination. I did what else, like new technology, like new tools, AI tools and stuff that you can use, and that type of stuff. So never really business oriented. I mean, I only started really focusing on my business just last year, basically. So
sure. I still think a lot of what your takeaways are exactly what we're trying to guide leaders to in that space. So even coming from the AI, looking at leadership, or where we've been on leadership decisions, starting to accept AI, we see a lot of people who are either denying it entirely, which I think is a big mistake. You've got to embrace the new technologies coming up. But on the same or the flip side of that coin, somebody who is accepting it entirely, it's like, oh, no, you still have to be involved here. This is something that can help your business decisions. It's not to be ignored, but it's also, you can't embrace it entirely. And a lot of that, I think, speaks to your headlines and what you talk to, whether it's, industry focused or not. It's the adoption of this technology, which absolutely can help used in the right ways. So I appreciate your humility, going, oh, I don't really know about that. I'm like, I'm watching it. I think your headlines speak to a lot of that kind of knowledge, where somebody who needs to learn about it could absolutely learn that from you, even if you don't exactly know their industry, just to be fair. Thinking ahead, looking at what you've seen, where it's gone, the introduction of chat to pre-chat, where we are. You mentioned one already. What did you say? Something
with
general
weapons.
GAI.
Oh no, artificial general intelligence.
Okay, so talking about that. So my last question here, looking 5 years ahead, and that might even be too far already because this can go fast. Where do you see AI driving business, either collaborations in use of it, or partnership, or is it just going to turn into chaos? What do you see happening, and how do we navigate that?
I hope it's still going to be, in 5 years, because AI grows exponentially, which you had a correct assertion that might be a little too far, maybe even like in a year or 2 years, right? But we'll see, I guess. But I wish that and hope and encourage people to not just delegate everything to AI.
Yeah.
Meaning, LinkedIn engagement and then LinkedIn DMs and stuff. Because if everybody just starts using bots, then I've talked about this a lot on stream, and even I think it was you when I said dead internet theory.
Yeah.
It's mostly not a theory anymore, because in some cases bots are literally just talking to bots. So I hope that it doesn't just turn into bots everywhere, right? I hope it's still kind of like a human touch, because then what will the internet become, right? It will just be a wasteland. It'll be chaos, and a lot. I think a lot of the hacks will start coming back and stuff, like with DDoS stuff, and it'll be really interesting. And that's why I'm saying, like, keep your bots in check.
Keep your bots in check.
Be aware.
Be nice to them. Say thank you and please as often as possible, if and when. But until then, we got to realize that this technology is not leading the way. It's helping us go down the path that hopefully as leaders you're already establishing. And if you're letting AI decide which path to go down, you don't know if that's one of the better decisions or one of the hallucinations. And I think it's up to leaders and business decision makers to decide where they want to go, and then work with somebody who knows how to implement or strategize and make sure that the tools, the AI that you use, get you to that goal that you're trying to get to based on your human decision.
Yeah.
And then see what you can use to supplement your own decision. So,
and there's one more actually pretty big point. Always remember, AI is a people pleaser. It'll tell you what you want to hear, right? So if you tell it, create a business strategy for this, it'll create it. And if you don't like it, it's going to change it up. But if you like it, it's going to only affirm you, even if it's bad, right? Even if it's like, because, for example, I gave it like a multiple choice question. It selected the wrong answer. And I said, no, it's actually this answer. And it said, I knew it was the wrong answer, but I said, this is the right answer. And said, oh yeah, you're correct. And it actually like outlined perfectly like why it would be correct. And I said, no, this is actually the right answer.
Yeah.
And it was the right answer. And then come on.
It is a very intelligent, resourceful yes man who's you say, hey, I want to create a podcast. Who should I bring on? And it's like, oh, you got to bring on Karel. Karel's gonna nail it. I'm like, oh, okay. So AI sent me here. I hope it was the right decision. I guess time will tell. Anything that you'd want to plug or talk about, or give an insight to where we could find you next, or how best?
Yeah, I mean, so right now I typically do like those Friday Coke or Pepsi-a-thons.
Okay.
Typically around like 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern. So it depends. Like like this week it's not going to be because I'm going to be flying. Obviously, I'm going to be predisposed with that. But I'm still going to have my Sundays. I don't even know what the name is now. I think it'll be weekly wrap up this time. And so sometimes my weekly reflection, sometimes it's weekly wrap up, and one more thing. And so I'll put it up there, and then so that's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And what else? Yeah, just look me up on YouTube. I mean, you can go to my profile, and there's a link in my business page and stuff. So Globe Productions, and then so you can see me there as well. I post some cool content, mostly shorts, obviously, so you can check them all out, and give me a like, follow, and subscribe. Do whatever you got to do. Thanks for having me on.
All of it. Thank you so much. All right, I'll see you around, and we'll like and push all of this stuff and get all the socials and links as much as we can on the comments. So thanks, friend. I will see you on LinkedIn, and I'm going to try to make your this Sunday might be hard, but I'm going to make as many of those as I can. So I
good. Yeah, I'll be on the entire summer pretty much. So plenty of them upcoming.
All right. Thanks, friend. I appreciate you. Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.